Hi, I'm Darlene. I really appreciate you stopping in and viewing my video today. I'm going to show you how to make this paper flower. It only has 4 basic circles, which I've used the circles number 2 Sizzix die for. You could also use your own pattern. The measurements of these circles are 2.5 inches in diameter, 2 inches in diameter, 1.5 inches, and also 1. Pretty simple to do this flower. You can make a lot of them, lots of different color combinations. I'm going to use Night of Navy Classic ink. Continue on. Ink all your edges. The side that's going to show is the side you want to ink. With a striped paper, I usually cut diagonally across the pattern instead of straight on. It really is my personal preference. You don't have to do it that way, but you're going to cut up just a little bit. One cut here, turn it completely around the other way, and directly across from that you're going to make another cut. Then in half the other way. Same idea. Your cut is right here. You're going to go across from that and then in quarters. So you have your, I'm not sure if you're able to see it, you have a cut here and a cut here, then you're also going to cut in the middle of that. Cut here and a cut here for that quarter, and you're going to make another cut in the middle of those two and continue around. Last 2 there and in the middle. That's your first layer. That will have 8 cuts total. Then the remaining 3 layers, same as before, up just about, and this is probably about 3/8 of an inch or a ½ inch cut. It's really your choice. When you make a few of these, you'll see what your preference is. So 1 across from each other, and then we're going to cut it into thirds instead of quarters and quarters again. We're going to make this into thirds. Think of a pie when you're cutting it. So we're going to make a cut here, and then again here. Hopefully you can see I did this cut and this cut first to make it in a half, 2 halves, and then I have 2 more, which think of a pie, 6 pieces of pie. Cut there and there. You're going to do the same to all of the rest of the remaining layers. Once you're done, if you have a bone folder, this is what I like to use the best. You could use any other tool. If you had something from the kitchen, you could use even a butter knife edge. But this tool, to me, I've used so often. It's so worth the few dollars that it costs. And all I'm going to do is between each of these cuts, where I call it a little mini petal, I'm going to take the edge of this bone folder and just kind of, like you were curling ribbon, the old-fashioned, when you took the scissors and ran it up the ribbon and curled it, you're doing the same thing, only you're just doing it on the little bit of an edge. Go around all layers of the paper circles, just enough to get yourself a nice curl. I think you can probably see that curl. Continue on through all of them. And the final one. Okay, you've got all 4. And the best way to assemble this is to use sticky strip because it really secures those layers on. Just take a small piece of sticky strip, put it in the middle, Remove the red top, and then you're just going to see where one of the slits is that you made and another one, and just offset it so that they're not all lining up exactly the same. Secure it together, press it in the middle. Last one, I'm in the middle. I'm going to take the matte pack and the paper piercing tool, find the center of that top layer, make a nice hole, take a brad, beat it through, spread the brad legs apart on the back, press down. If you want to add a little bit more curl to them, you can. That's why these are really fun to do. So there's one. Here's our first one that we did. I had another kind that I did with a different pattern paper where I took a little piece of Whisper white cardstock and the flower shape from the Itty Bitty Shapes punch pack. Put a little dazzling diamonds on the middle of that, did the same process, and instead of having the brad legs to attach it onto my card, I just put a heavy glue dot on the back. That's another idea. This one out of the same type of paper, different pattern, but then I used a little clear itty bitty button and some embroidery floss in like a bluish color that brought out the same color. You can see that one. So that's a set for the blue. Now I do have another idea that I wanted to show you. I took some crumb cake cardstock and the En Francais background stamp. Use this stamp all the time. It's a really nice stamp. And did more of a monotone image on this. And then what I'm going to do is ink the edges again on this. Same idea. Chocolate chip classic ink. Sponge around the edges again as we did on the blue one. This will be more of a vintage looking flower. And in quarters again. Continue on the other three, going in half and then in thirds. Curl your edges as before on all layers. Assembly on this flower is identical to the blue flower. Add your sticky strip and add your layers, one at a time, pressing firmly to secure them. Continue on to the last layer. Add your final layer on the top. Use again your matte pack and your paper piercing tool. I'm making this hole quite a bit larger than the other one, so I'm going to use one of the brads from, this is the Antique Brads. Has a nice gold on it. Feed it through. I think I'll curl him a little more. So here's the nice vintage looking, antique-y looking flower with the brad legs that you can use to attach onto your project.